Before we dig any deeper into the dynamics of successful goal setting and achievement, we really need to talk about something which is holding each one of us back from reaching our full potential, and that is ourselves. What do I mean by that? It's very simple. Our beliefs about ourselves either empower us to greatness or they keep us in our comfort zone, which is the status quo. By staying in the status quo, there is never any need to feel bad about not achieving something, and you don't make anyone else feel uncomfortable with the fact that they too are not striving for something bigger and better in their lives. Why would anyone choose to stay in the status quo? The answer is very simple, and it can be summed up in one word, and that word is fear. Fear is just an acronym for false evidence appearing real. Almost every single reason or excuse why most people do not take action comes down to fear, and 99% of fear is simply in your mind and no place else. As soon as you start thinking about what your life could be like if you left the status quo, you're going to be bombarded by all kinds of thoughts which are completely based on fear. Let's say you're thinking about opening up your own business and leaving the rat race behind. More than likely, you're going to be hit with the following fears. What if the business fails and I lose all my savings? Most businesses fail during the first year. It's too risky to be an entrepreneur when you have a family which relies on you. It would be irresponsible for me to take such a risk. What if I become really successful? I'll lose all my friends because they'll be jealous. If I make a lot of money, then I'll be forced to pay a bunch of taxes, and I'll be harassed and audited by the IRS. People who are self-employed work 7 days a week, and if I do that, I'll lose touch with my family. I'll probably end up divorced and I won't see my kids. I better wait for the economy to improve before I try anything new. I better wait and save up more money before trying to go into business. I don't have an MBA, so I better wait till I get one, because it will make me more likely to succeed. If I leave my job and become self-employed, it will be really hard for me to get financing to buy a house, so I should hold off to buy a home. What if the business fails and I can't find a job? Then what? How will I pay my bills? What if I open a business and I go bankrupt? How will I ever financially and emotionally recover from that? What if fill in the blank happens? After rolling through such an exhaustive list of fear-based thoughts about what could go wrong by being an entrepreneur, the overwhelming majority of the people in the world decide to play it safe and stay in their current comfort zone. We're going to talk more about this later, but this entire decision to not become an entrepreneur was totally based upon fear and thoughts in your head about around events that never happened. Again, it was all based upon false evidence appearing real. If this sounds familiar to you, don't think for a moment you're alone. You're just like everyone else in the world. So where did all these thoughts and beliefs come from? In short, they came from your environment, from the day you were born until where you are now today. Let's take a look at the different sources in your environment, which have had a direct effect upon your belief system about yourself and the world in which you live. Parents are by far the greatest influence on any child, and they have absolutely had an effect upon you, whether it's good or bad. Unfortunately, most parents are only passing down to their children the same fear-based nonsense that they received from their parents, who in turn received it from their parents, and it's been going on for generations. Unfortunately, 95% of probably what you heard growing up was absolutely fear-based nonsense, and it was coupled with the total ignorance of the law of attraction. In short, they didn't negatively program you on purpose. They just didn't know any better. Besides your parents, there are other very strong sources of influence that you were exposed to as well, such as your friends, the schools you attended, the teachers that you had, the community you grew up in, the culture that you associate with and their beliefs, the religious beliefs you have and the beliefs associated with that religion, the beliefs associated with your race consciousness, the beliefs associated with your gender and sexuality, the associated beliefs of your political leaders, and what you hear from the news media on a daily basis. Let's take a closer look at these influences. What do your friends believe about success? Are they successful themselves? Do they believe the world is their oyster and the opportunity is theirs for the taking? Or do they believe that they are doomed to live a life of hardship? Take a very close look at who your friends are and ask yourself if remaining in their orbit is going to heighten or lessen your chances of success. What did you hear from your teachers when you were growing up? Did they tell you that you were a brilliant student? Or did they tell you that you should probably look at attending a trade school because you didn't have what it takes to go to college? If you bought into their ridiculous assessment, what kind of effect did that have on your beliefs about what you could or could not accomplish? What kind of community did you grow up in? And what do most people there believe? Did you grow up in a community that had a poverty mindset? Or did you grow up in a community that had a mindset that believed you could achieve anything through hard work? Did you buy into what everyone else in your community collectively thought? Did you grow up in a very tight-knit culture that has its ancient rituals and beliefs about the roles of daughters and sons towards family and society? If so, did you accept those determined roles, or did you choose a different path? What was the religious doctrine that you were exposed to? Did you buy into it on face value because everyone else did? What role is it playing today in your life, and how is it affecting your beliefs around what you should or should not be doing? Do you believe that your race is an asset to your success, or do you believe that is a hindrance in your ability to succeed? Is it really true, or is it just the belief that most people who look like you have? Do you believe that opportunities are limited based on your gender or sexuality? Is this something that you really believe to be true? Do you believe what the political leaders tell you from the bully pulpit as being the absolute truth about reality and opportunity around what you can achieve? How exposed are you, and what is your perception regarding what the media is feeding you on a 24-hour news cycle basis? Do you believe everything you hear, and is it having an effect on how you view your personal reality? All of these outside forces have had an effect on what you presently believe, whether they were obvious influences or not. Besides outside forces, you also have developed a belief system about who you are and what you can accomplish. All of us have different traits, and how we self-identify with ourselves has a big impact on our belief systems. Many people suffer from low self-esteem, and they do not believe that they are successful or that they could ever be successful. Another all too common self-sabotaging internal belief is to identify yourself as being a victim of whatever you say you are a victim of. It's basically your excuse for why you're not successful or happy, and in the victim world, the victim is never responsible for their outcomes. Identifying what your limiting beliefs are is the first step towards eliminating them from your life experience. Once you have identified them, you can work to convert them into being empowering beliefs, which inspire you to accomplish greater and greater things. For every limiting belief that you identify that you have, I want you to take a real hard look at where that belief came from, and does it have any truth in your life? More than likely, it's just some non-empowering thought which you have been repeating in your mind, which is completely false. Removing limiting beliefs is not difficult once you have identified them for what they are, and that is a lie which you have been telling yourself over time. Affirmation statements are an excellent way to replace limiting beliefs with empowering beliefs. Where each limiting belief you identify, create an affirmation statement which acts to reduce and remove that limiting belief. Let's assume that your limiting belief that you have is that you don't have enough money to support a local charity. A great affirmation that you could repeat during the day could be, I am blessed with abundance, and more than enough money is always there when I need it. Affirmations, I believe, are the easiest ways for us to take back our power and neutralize the effects of limiting beliefs. Remember that limiting beliefs have more than likely been part of your being for a number of years, so don't expect them to disappear overnight. With consistency of your affirmations and through controlling your thoughts, you can absolutely bring the required change for you to move on to greatness and remove the roadblocks to success that you put in your way you didn't even realize. I cannot overemphasize how important this is to your personal success. Your beliefs and expectations, whether they are positive or negative, create your reality. If you want to achieve massive success, eliminate any and all limiting beliefs which may be holding you back. Your success truly depends upon it. Remember, no limits when you are working with the law of attraction, unless you say there is.